Why were these clips buried? Why did some get deleted just hours after being posted? Shadowy figures, faces watching from the dark. These are 9 Bigfoot moments you were never supposed to see. Until now, some footage slips through the cracks. Some get pulled down, and some, it vanishes completely. But the internet never forgets. We've tracked down 9 of the most disturbing Bigfoot clips, hidden, dismissed, or quietly erased. Watch closely, because these aren't hoaxes, and someone didn't want you to find them.
We come in peace.
We come in peace.
I can't zoom in any more than this.
A giant tepee, hidden deep in the woods, nearly 30 feet tall, no signs of people, no garbage, no fire pit, just the structure, standing alone. Who built it, and why? Some call it bushcraft. But this is different. Massive, too big for survival, too big for fun, too big to make sense. It's Friday, September 27th, 2024. This investigation is from the YouTube channel Turtle Island Sasquatch, early morning. Quiet. The forest feels untouched. The investigator leaves an audio recorder inside the tepee, buried under bark and leaves, set to run through the night. Watch this moment.
Yeah, so I'm back at the tepee. I just left my audio recorder inside the tepee. I put a drill charger attached to a USB cable attached to the...
Hoping to capture something, anything. The structure is unbelievable, almost 30 feet tall, circled by hundreds of long, thick sticks, not cut, snapped, not dragged from one spot. These would have been gathered across the entire forest. Who would do that, and why here? Hidden off a quiet highway. Not a park, not a playground, just a silent trail, nearly invisible. Bushcraft shelters? They're fast, small, built to survive the night, built to stay warm.
Audio recorder. So that should get me at least 24 hours battery life. So it's almost 8 a.m. That should take me till 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
No one builds a survival shelter this big. No one wastes time stacking sticks 27 feet tall. It's not kids, it's not campers, and it's not quick work. No garbage, no beer cans, no signs of a fire, nothing human. The investigator steps back. The camera doesn't do it justice. In person, it's massive. Others online build teepees, but none this tall, not without cranes, not without tools. There's something else. The sticks are broken by force. No clean saw cuts, no axe marks, just raw breaks.
And it just doesn't make sense to me why anyone, and it looks a lot smaller, the camera's deceiving. And in person, it looks a lot bigger. I'm gonna try and step back just to give you a better idea.
What's left behind is clean. No tracks, no prints, but the structure stands, alone, unexplained. Some say a shelter, but this doesn't hold heat. It isn't waterproof. It's not built for people. Maybe it's not for shelter. Maybe it's a marker, a sign, a statement. The size feels like a message. This place is claimed.
People, even in their videos, I was watching a couple of the videos, the point of a bushcraft structure, some people do them for fun. However, the main purpose of them is a survival shelter.
Could it be for other Sasquatch? Could this be their language? A trail marker, a boundary, a home signal. Nearby, more signs, tree arches, snapped branches, sticks wedged between forks. Classic signs for those who know what to look for. There's no way to prove who built it, but the clues point in one direction. He's found other structures before, 10 feet tall, maybe 12. But this? Almost 30 feet, the biggest he's ever seen. The investigator believes these are left for each other. Not shelters to live in, more like trail signs, checkpoints, a way to say, you're here, you're on the right path. The audio recorder stays hidden, waiting through the night. See the drop point.
This is a public trail, but it's very well hidden off a highway with only two parking spots. So this isn't a park. This isn't, people aren't coming here with their kids and stuff.
Tomorrow, he'll come back, hoping for whoops, nicks, anything out of place. But there's more. Down the trail, arches held down by stacked sticks. Nearby, triangle breaks, 3 in a row, snapped in the middle. Not random, not fallen by chance. One is 6 feet tall. Another stands nearly 10. Watch this discovery, a thick arch nearby.
All down by these branches on the ground. There's this place there. So it's one arch. Then you got like a broken off.
So solid no person could bend it. Signs line the trail. Silent markers scattered through the forest. Could this be their travel route? Could these be their signs? The deeper he walks, the more he finds. Arches, triangles, patterns. The forest speaks, if you know how to listen. These signs don't last forever. Rain washes them, wind drops them, time hides them. But right now, they stand.
One there. There's one over here. Might as well walk over there.
He knows they're out there, and he knows we rarely see them because they don't want to be seen. Maybe they're watching. Maybe they already know he's here. What do you think? Could this giant teepee be a Sasquatch marker or something else? Let me know below, and don't forget to subscribe. The search is far from over. Something was moving out there. Quiet, but big. No birds, no breeze. Just that heavy feeling. Something watching. It started when Bill, a friend of the uploader, sent a photo back in April. A large foot impression deep in one of the Olympic Project's research areas. Bill provided the location. The uploader, from Sasquatch in the Mist, had to see it up close. Watch this, right here.
And I see this. Something smacked that hard. That's a deep impression. I'm looking down, I see rocks here. Don't know if any of those were the...
Something hit this plant hard. Broken branches, deep marks in the ground, more crushed huckleberries, torn rhododendron, tracks weaving through the thick brush. Heavy things move quietly in these woods. The original print Bill found remained elusive, but something else appeared. Another impression, fresh, wide. It was scanned, measured, and carefully cast. The shape stood out. Heel, toes, pressure points. Not a perfect print, but enough to preserve. Hydrocal was mixed and poured, but the water ratio was slightly off. Still, the casting set. There's something about watching a track solidify in plaster. The cast was pulled carefully from the ground, soft but holding, toes faintly visible. Not proof, not yet, but something stood there, something with weight.
Do a 3D scan, but basically what I'm looking, I think I'm looking at here, and there is other impressions going up, so there's wherever it was went through there, I imagine.
The impressions lined up, one after another, moving steadily uphill. Whatever made them wasn't wandering, it was going somewhere. More searching turned up an old bear track, some deer bones, but no clear answers. Except for one thing, a loud, solid thump from the east. Sharp and distinct. After that, silence returned. Later, Chris Spencer of the Olympic Project joined the uploader for a return to Frog Camp. They set up an overnight camp. Thermal cameras rolled. Audio recorders listened. The night would tell its own story. The next day's exploration uncovered more fresh sign. Broken branches, trails pressed into the thick brush. Some breaks were high and clean, the kind that raise questions. Listen to this. Watch yourself.
It was either some light knocks or...
I heard like a thump.
I heard before that, I thought it was maybe a pileated woodpecker, but...
Faint knocks. A low thud. Subtle but there. Thermal scans showed nothing in the dense cover, but the sound lingered. First close, then further. Like something moving just beyond sight. One tactic was used, pretending to leave. It sometimes draws curious creatures closer. This time, whatever was out there remained hidden. The area held its own history. the mornings when chimp-like vocals were recorded, mysterious mumbling echoing through the woods. Sounds that didn't quite fit, and it happened again. That same vocal pattern. The same as one recorded seconds before last year's chimp-fed event. Same time of year. Same stretch of forest. Same electric tension. Watch this section.
And it's the same, and what's funny is it was the same vocal that, like, 30 seconds or so before chimp fit occurs, that vocal goes off again.
The ravine. Frog camp. The place where prints, sounds, and stories collide. This is where Chris Spencer set up his long-term recorder. A custom-built unit designed to capture 40 nights of audio. Nights when the forest goes still, but something else might be moving. The recorder was positioned carefully, the mics aimed toward the ravine. Animals, known and unknown, often travel that path. It was the perfect listening post. These recorders have captured mountain lions hunting, coyotes moving in close, and sometimes things that defy easy explanation. The unit was set to run continuously, tracking dusk to dawn activity when the strange often stirs.
And this home unit he put together, as he said, upwards of 30, 40 days, depending on the weather, how cold it gets.
Chris detailed how this homemade recorder can run for over a month, even in the cold, staying hidden and active when most would pack up and leave. The work wasn't finished. The team would return in 30 to 40 days to retrieve the recorder or refresh it. Until then, the forest would hold its secrets. On the hike back, Chris and the uploader discussed the heavy workload ahead. Hours of audio review, thermal footage to sift through. A waiting game now, but the quiet holds answers. Right here. Don't miss this.
We'll be seeing that unit here in 30 to 40 days when we come back to retrieve it and or just service it and change the SD cards and batteries.
The recorder locked on, aimed into the heart of the ravine. The trap was set. What will they find? Was something watching the whole time? Could this be connected to last year's sounds? Viewers are invited to drop their theories in the comments and follow along as the story unfolds here. For those ready to keep exploring, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next trail might bring them closer, and this time they might not be the only ones watching. Deep in the heart of the Cherokee Nation, something stirs. Locals talk about it. Elders remember it. A mysterious creature, quiet, elusive, but very real to those who've seen it. Some call it Bigfoot. The Cherokee call it something older, something sacred. The team heads into the woods, tracking legends that never really left. Dense forests stretch for miles. Some places out here no human has ever walked. That's where the search begins. For generations, the Cherokee believed these beings were placed here by the Creator, not monsters, protectors, helpers. In the old days, people would leave gifts at the edge of the woods, berries, roots, to honor them. That tradition still lingers. And the sightings? They haven't stopped. D.W. Lee leads the investigation. He's logged thousands of hours in the wild. He's had dozens of encounters. He's not chasing stories. He's chasing answers. His team sets up recorders, thermal cameras, even drones. They hang their audio traps high in the trees, out of sight, hoping to capture something no one else can. Then, a discovery. Out in the brush, they find tree structures. Massive limbs balanced perfectly. No roots, no natural fall. Some are burnt at the ends. Some are wedged tightly, like markers. Are they signs? Warnings? Territory lines? Watch yourself here.
Talk about a balancing act. This is what we see a lot of times on these structures where they'll actually balance. You can try to knock them down, and they won't.
The balance is too precise to be random. The trail leads them to footprints, small but clear, toes splayed wide, a sign of something that's never worn shoes. Could it be a juvenile Bigfoot? They cast it quickly, locking the impression in time. See this moment,
And we'll pull this out of the ground and see what it looks like when it sets. This is a impression of a possible Bigfoot track. The typical size that people find for these things in Oklahoma is...
The footprint tells a story. Something passed here. Something walking free. The team isn't guessing. They collect DNA, take photos, compare thermal hits.
Generally between 16 to 20 inches for the adults. Stuff smaller than that would be juveniles. In humans, we wear shoes and it causes the toe to get diverted inwards, and it's a deformity.
In one case, 2 researchers captured footage of a Bigfoot at the same spot, 2 weeks apart. Separate cameras, same creature.
We also have a picture of what we believe is a juvenile Bigfoot going across a trail down here in southeast Oklahoma. We also have hair samples. Some of them have unknown qualities to them that don't line up to other animals. Most purported Bigfoot hair.
The thermal images are haunting. Something was there, twice. Their recordings pick up distant responses to their calls, echoes in the woods, replies that come from nowhere.
That was our researcher doing that call. That was the return response.
You hear the call, then a return. Something's listening. For the Cherokee, this isn't just a hunt. It's part of their history. These beings, known for centuries, were never gone. Maybe we just stopped paying attention. Do you think Bigfoot is still out there? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like, subscribe, and follow us as we dive deeper into the wild. In the cold silence of snow-covered forests, something leaves tracks. Massive tracks. Tracks that don't match any known animal. Some call them blobs. Some call them mistakes. But wildlife biologist John Bindernagel called them evidence. John Bindernagel spent over 50 years chasing the truth. In this research video, he brings forward one overlooked clue: Sasquatch trackways in snow. Watch this carefully.
With a historical account, we're talking 1790, a Hudson's Bay trader based in northern Saskatchewan. And here's what the Hudson's Bay trader wrote. This is Edward Humphreyville.
A Hudson's Bay trader in 1790 wrote about mysterious tracks seen by the indigenous people along the North Saskatchewan River. The snow held them. The moss held them. Something was out there. Fast forward to modern British Columbia. Bindernagel shows clear tracks from known animals like raccoons and black bears. Snow can capture them with detail. The same goes for Sasquatch. And then it gets better. Randy Brisson, another tracker, found juvenile tracks in moist snow. Not just a single track, a full trackway. Even toe impressions were visible. He placed his boot beside it for scale. The size wasn't even close.
And I include humans in this. We humans, as we walk, exhibit some straddle or trail width. We also exhibit not a great stride length. We exhibit scuffing as we drag our feet into our footstep and out again.
Unlike bears or humans, Sasquatch tracks line up almost perfectly. There's no side-to-side straddle. The stride length? Unnatural, long, purposeful, almost like the precision of a fox trail, but massive. Ohio researchers documented the same thing years ago. The stride, the tight trackway, the repeated pattern across different regions. It wasn't random. Then, in British Columbia, a witness followed fresh Sasquatch tracks, measuring his own boot against the prints. His step didn't come close. He even laid down across the stride to show the impossible distance. These weren't human steps. Watch closely.
someone came forward saying, you know, I've seen this myself, and I photographed it, and I think, oh, gee, that's great. And he did a good job. In eastern British Columbia near Field, he saw a trackway which he followed a little bit along here, and which diverged off.
In Washington, near a work site, an incredible trackway appeared. Paul Graves helped document it. Stride lengths stretched from 4 feet to over 6 feet, with some jumps measuring up to 10 feet and even 13 feet. 13-foot strides. Those are not causal steps. They're leaps. Historical accounts line up. In 1851, an Arkansas report spoke of an unknown creature leaping 12 to 14 feet at a time. That's not a coincidence. What stands out most? The way these creatures move. Long strides, narrow trail widths, tracks in perfect line. It's not just about a footprint. It's about how those prints connect, step after step, leaving a silent story in the snow.
Here he is measuring it. Now, Paul did provide me with some measurements. The average, well, the range was from 4 feet to 6'2", which is pretty substantial.
Sasquatch trackways aren't just random impressions. They're patterned, consistent, and spread across centuries. Bindernagel wasn't just collecting footprints. He was mapping movements, telling a story in snow that most people walk right past. This isn't about blobs anymore. It's about paying attention. It's about seeing what's always been there. Could these trackways finally push us to look beyond costumes and hoaxes? Could this be the real trail to the truth? What do you think? Is it possible that we've had the evidence all along, just waiting in the snow? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Have you seen anything like this? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real research and forgotten Sasquatch stories. Salish Sasquatch evidence from Washington. Something was watching. Something was close. And for one unforgettable week in 2013, the Sasquatch came to the Brown family's backyard.
And it started on October 31st of 2013 when my brother-in-law and husband got a thermal video of a Sasquatch that lasted over 2 minutes. Now, if you haven't seen that, I'm going to link it down in the description for you to check out. If you haven't seen it, you're definitely going to want to see that because...
This wasn't just random noise. This was direct contact, footprints, voices, movement, and a thermal video that changed everything. The story comes from the YouTube channel Salish Sasquatch, run by Jonathan and Sarah Brown, who live on an Indian reservation in Washington state. Over the years, they've collected some of the clearest Bigfoot evidence from their own property. But this one week in October and November 2013, it was on another level. It started on October 31st when Jonathan and his brother-in-law filmed a Sasquatch on thermal over 2 minutes of footage. If you haven't seen that, it's a must-watch. That clip still stands as one of the best thermal captures of a Sasquatch out there. But what happened next is what pulls you in. Just 2 days later, on November 3rd, something came right up to their audio recorder. Heavy, slow breathing. It wasn't just passing by. It was curious. Listen to this moment.
Now, all the cows were gone at this point. They were all removed by November 1st. Something came up to the audio and did some very odd, heavy breathing.
The sound is too close, too deliberate. 15 minutes later, it came back. Same deep breathing, just inches from the recorder. It's rare to catch that kind of up-close presence, especially without human interference. That same week, one of the Brown family's most famous audio captures returned, the Yip Yeller. Around 2 a.m., his sharp vocal bursts echoed through the property. 2 days later, on November 5th, his voice came back again, stronger, clearer. And by early morning, another voice joined him. A second Sasquatch, possibly female. Listen carefully.
So November 6th was the day that we put in the SD card and watched the thermal video, and of course we were blown away. We went to the ridge later that day and we cast a 16.5-inch footprint. And there was actually two of them. There was a right and a left print, but the only one that was castable, being on the ridge, was the right footprint.
Their calls overlap. Two distinct tones, two beings. On November 6th, they reviewed the thermal footage for the first time and realized what they'd caught. That same day, they found and cast a 16.5-inch footprint on the ridge. Not just one. There was a left and a right, but only one was castable. By November 7th, the Browns were finding more. 3 new impressions along the ridge. The pattern continued. That night at 9:45 p.m., a new voice appeared on the audio. This one was different. Lower, rougher. Some call him the big guy. His voice rumbled through the recorder. Hard to understand, but impossible to ignore.
Also very interesting was that week we tried something with stones. We always hear that Sasquatch will mess with stones or rocks in your yard or garden or whatever. So we took a pile of stones and put them on top of a fence post.
The deep growl sticks with you. That same week, they tested something else. They stacked small stones on a fence post in an area the Sasquatch frequented. Each time the result was the same. Half the stones would disappear. Never all of them, just half. 3 times in a row. What does that mean? Could this have been intentional? Could the stones be part of a subtle exchange? One thing's clear. The Sasquatch were moving through the property, night after night. They weren't just passing by. They were watching, breathing, calling, and leaving signs. The Browns caught slow, side-to-side movements on video, steady shifting, up and down. Watch this final clip.
They're also moving along. Here also. So we get this kind of motion, swaying motion. Clearly some more movement going on.
The movement is subtle, but it's there, real, measured. The Browns didn't just stumble onto this. They tracked it. They lived it. So what do you think? Was this just coincidence, or did the Sasquatch intentionally engage that week? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever heard anything like this? Hit like and subscribe if you want more real Sasquatch encounters caught on tape. Something was there. Up high, perched on the ridge. It wasn't just a shadow, it wasn't just a tree. Something dark, something heavy was watching. Daniel Benoit locked his camera onto it, trying to hold steady, focusing, zooming. There it was. That figure, dark against the hillside.
I keep seeing something up there, up on the hill there on the lower part of the ridge. I don't know, it could be a stump. It's a dark image up there.
Could it be a stump? Maybe, but then it moved. The dark shape shifted, slow, careful, like it knew it was being watched. Daniel kept zooming in, trying not to lose focus. His camera wobbled, but the shape stayed in sight. It looked like the figure had ducked lower. It was trying to hide. Daniel wasn't alone. They scanned the ridge. They kept their eyes on it. The figure was to the left now. The head moved again. It was playing games.
It's all blurry. I mean, the image looks blurry, but you can see it moving.
Peekaboo in the woods. It wasn't standing still. It was moving, sliding behind the bushes, shifting just enough to stay hidden, but not enough to disappear. Watch this part closely.
Look. Yeah. Look at it. It moved.
Its head moved.
It's moving. It's trying to hide from us. Dude, look.
There he went again. He's playing high-boo.
Dude, he's moving. There's a squatch up there. He's blurry. Because I try not to zoom in too much.
The shape slides again. A quick move. It ducks. Then it pops back up. Blurry but visible. Daniel holds the camera steady, but the zoom makes it hard to focus. The image softens, but you can still see it. That dark figure, still watching. It's like the Squatch knew, like it was testing them, moving just enough to stay seen, but always keeping distance.
Let's turn around. Let's both turn this way. Well, now you keep facing that way. If we look away, maybe it'll move.
It never stepped into the open. It never fully disappeared. Daniel tried something different. He looked away. Maybe, just maybe, if they weren't staring, it would move again. He turned his back. The others looked away too. For a moment they pretended not to watch. And right then, the figure moved again, slipping around, pacing behind the trees. It didn't leave. It stayed close. It didn't want to lose them either. Catch it yourself.
Look, he's moved. You can't hardly see him now. Now he's almost, you can't see him no more. Wow.
The movement's faint, but it's there. The figure slides deeper behind the brush. It's playing a slow game of shadow and cover. They kept moving along the ridge. The woods stretched out around them. Quiet, still, but Daniel heard it. Movement in the distance.
But you could watch it move and go down and then go, it was going in between the bushes.
A faint sound of something walking. He heard it again. Closer this time. A snap. A step. Something was still out there, keeping pace. This wasn't new. Daniel had been here before. The feeling was the same, like something was always nearby, just out of reach. The trees were thick. The gully below was the perfect hiding place. Dense laurel brush and a low drop. A natural cover. A place to move without being seen. As they followed the ridge, they found something else. Tracks, fresh ones. Footprints pressed into the soft ground. The shape was clear. The heel dug deep. The toes spread wide. The track pointed straight ahead. Look right here.
Well, this here looks like a track going this way. There's a heel. And here's your toes right there going that way. We didn't see that one before. There's another one up here.
A second track. This one overlaps the first. Something else stepped there. The ground still held the imprint. You could see the path, the direction it went. The trail wasn't random. It followed a clear route. A path that looked like it had been used many times, well-worn, pressed down, hidden inside the trees. Daniel knew this was where they moved, where they traveled, where they watched.
All right, something go ahead. Look, it got stepped on by something. Because look, this track right here, this here had toes right up. Oh, wait a minute.
Down in the gully, the path continued, a space they could move through easily, out of sight. From the ridge above, they could track anyone passing by. Daniel remembered the last time he'd been there. He'd heard something move right beside him, but saw nothing. Now he wondered if the same thing was happening again. They checked the area where Daniel's trail camera had been set. If the camera caught anything clear, it could be huge. The shot they'd all been waiting for. The proof.
So was this one here? This was another track right here. Yeah, there you can see the toes right there.
Daniel was ready. He wanted to get a clean photo, one that no one could deny. If he captured it, he wanted people to try and challenge it. The search pushed on toward a narrow trail. A small creek cut across the path, but it was easy to cross with stepping stones. On the other side, they headed for a small open space they called the picnic area. It was a quiet clearing, tucked away in the trees. Maybe something would happen there.
Cause yeah, we're coming up to where me and Fred found those tracks. And now because we had some heavy rain the other night, so they may not be here no more. Although this area looks kind of dry. Right here, because this area right here it probably got sheltered from the rain a little bit, so maybe that track is still preserved.
Daniel stayed sharp. The woods weren't empty. The movement, the prints, the feeling of being watched. It all pointed to something still being out there, still close. Did Daniel capture a Sasquatch on camera? Watch the footage. Study the movement. Decide for yourself. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Hit like. Subscribe for more real encounters. Stay tuned. The search isn't over. Something's moving in the East Texas woods. Big arches, snapped trees, unexplained howls, and a feeling like something's watching. The YouTube channel, Camping with Sasquatch, takes us deep into a night hike loaded with strange finds and eerie sounds. It starts with the trees, giant arches, some over 15 feet high, bending in ways that don't add up. One tree leans perfectly into two others, wedged just right. Could it be natural? Maybe, but in these woods, you always wonder. Watch this moment, the formation just seems placed.
Reminds me of what we found in Alabama. Now granted, those trees might have grown in that way. That's one possibility. Otherwise, it's odd that it would fall like that, right between those.
Then comes something subtle but odd. A pine needle wedged in a car door seal. Days later, a leaf appears in the exact same spot. Small, but when you're out here, small things stand out. Further down the trail, more structures appear. Fallen trees stacked, arches with thick limbs pinned on top, perfectly balanced. These don't look random. Watch yourself. The way these branches rest. It feels intentional.
And another one. Just found this while I was out, interesting. What has dark hair like that?
And then, hair. Dark strands found in the middle of the woods. Could it be human? Maybe, but what else roams these parts with hair like that? As the night falls, the woods come alive. Distant howls. At first it was soft, then louder, cutting through the quiet. One howl stands out.
Heard a howl already. So we hear it again. There it is. It's a little ways off. I don't know how well that came through.
The sound's far off, but it's real. And it happens more than once. The explorer pushes deeper into the forest and stumbles across something strange. A massive pile of scat, bigger than his foot, dry but fresh-looking. Maybe a hog? Maybe not. The size is what makes it hard to dismiss. More tree arches, more stacked branches, and signs that something is moving through. Every step feels like something's just beyond view. The flashlight scans the trees. Eye shine? Maybe it's a marker. Maybe it's something else. Further in, the forest changes. It gets tighter, walls of trees closing in. He hikes near a riverbed with sandy beaches that seem out of place this deep in the woods. It's a whole different world down there. He sets up audio recorders and keeps moving. More crashes, more howls. Then something shifts. The trail feels wrong. He catches a scent, something sharp, something out of place. That's when a new series of howls echo through the forest. Watch this part.
Something just fell. There's some howls. Wow. This trail has a vibe to it. You can smell something too.
The sound is close now, closer than before. More arches, more breaks. Everywhere he turns, something seems just arranged. The night wraps with owl calls blending into possible Sasquatch sounds. Deep, off-pattern hoots that feel too strange to ignore. By morning, he collects his recorders. The forest quiets down, but the questions stay. What left those arches? What made those sounds? And what else was watching from just out of sight? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this was Bigfoot activity or something else? Hit like and subscribe if you want more deep woods investigations like this one. Something's moving in the remote woods of Pennsylvania. Massive land, no houses, no people, just 50,000 acres of pure wilderness. It's the perfect place to vanish, and maybe something did. The Pennsylvania Sasquatch Association dives straight into it. Their mission: find signs of Bigfoot in Sullivan County's dense game lands. They call this the Big Woods, untouched, unexplored, and quiet. Too quiet. Early on, they stumble across something strange. A trail of flipped rocks, heavy stones, freshly overturned like something powerful had been searching beneath them. Could it be a bear? Maybe, but out here, in this silence, you feel like something else is watching. Watch yourself.
Something moved that rock right there. Not sure if it was a person or something looking for grub. No tracks are surrounding it.
The flipped stones seem deliberate, like something with purpose passed through. As they move deeper, the woods get thicker. Then they find it, a fresh break. A branch, green and torn, snapped right off. No storm, no vehicle, just a clean break along an empty trail. Could it be a marker? Could it be a warning? That snap looks too fresh to ignore.
Along, we just came across this branch that snapped off of this bunch of trees right here. It's really fresh. As you can see, the leaves are still fresh and green on it, so something just did this recently. It's off this emergency road, so a car wouldn't have hit it.
Then it happens again. Another break. Same kind of branch, same freshness, not far from the first one. These aren't random. It's like something is moving through, leaving signs behind. Maybe it's leaving them for others. The team keeps pushing, following the signs, the sounds, the feeling. Their calls echo into the woods, and something answers. A sound, low, distant, but clear. And then another. Check this moment. The team can't tell where it's coming from. It's not their phones, it's not them.
On the phone, but it wasn't my phone.
I thought it was your phone.
No, it wasn't over here.
Okay, we're hearing some sounds here. We don't know what it is exactly.
The deeper they go, the stranger it gets. A flattened patch of ground, a possible bedding spot. Could something that big really be resting here? The evidence starts stacking up. Fresh breaks, moved rocks, unexplained sounds, and the overwhelming sense that something is just out of sight. As night closes in, the woods feel alive. Every sound, every movement feels sharper. They press on, searching, listening, chasing that one moment where it all comes together. What's moving in these woods? What's flipping rocks and snapping branches in the middle of nowhere? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this is real Bigfoot activity? Hit like, subscribe, and follow for more wild hunts into the unknown. Some encounters are easy to dismiss. Others refuse to fade into silence. And then there are those that straddle the line, caught between hoax and truth, between disbelief and a glimpse into something primal. This is the story of one such line. A line blurred by two separate video clips, a common mystery, and one name that won't disappear: Randall Hart. On the surface, it began like many supposed Bigfoot captures do. Flickering footage, a shaking hand, a figure just distant enough to elude clarity. But the details tell a more tangled tale. It started with a short 10-second clip uploaded by a user named Dave Boccia. The figure that appeared on screen wasn't merely blurry. It was beastly, towering. Its proportions were wrong for a man. The arms hung low, unnaturally so. The gait was slow and weighty, but coordinated in a way that didn't mimic human movement. The creature didn't turn to the camera. It didn't posture. It simply walked. with a chilling nonchalance. To see the clip that left seasoned viewers second-guessing their instincts. At first glance, it seemed like another potential win for believers. But beneath the surface, the story darkens. According to the Unexplained with Adam, the same video, or something alarmingly similar, has appeared before. Only this time, it wasn't under the alias Dave Botcha, but rather under the name Randall Hart, a figure long accused of staging cryptid hoaxes. And now, this channel claims Hart is using false identities to repurpose old content, stoke belief, and cloud the waters of genuine research. But then comes the twist. The second clip in question, allegedly featuring Randall Hart's Bigfoot holding a chicken in its massive hand, refuses to be easily dismissed. The same questions emerge. Could it really be a man in costume? The scale is off. The arm length, again, matches no ordinary person. And the motion, the slow, deliberate rise of the creature's shoulders, the flex in its knee joint as it steps, is strangely fluid. To observe what believers argue is too authentic to be dismissed outright. Skeptics cry foul. The repeated appearances of the same style, the same locations, the same camera angle all suggest a single source of manipulation. But believers are not so easily swayed. They argue that even if Randall Hart is the name behind both uploads, this does not necessarily mean the footage is fake. Instead, they suggest a more curious possibility. What if the man known for hoaxes accidentally captured something real? The idea might seem wild, but cryptid history is full of moments where pranksters stumbled into authenticity. And in these two clips, the details don't quite scream costume. There's no visible fabric seam, no stiffness around the knees. The arm swing has weight, momentum, and the creature never reacts like a human playing a part. Watch yourself side-by-side comparison to catch the subtle shift in the creature's posture. Something a performer would almost certainly overplay, not underplay. This, perhaps, is what makes these clips so unsettling. Not their quality, but their restraint. The creature never turns toward the lens, never acknowledges the presence of the camera, and most notably, never offers the kind of exaggerated motion typical of a fake. So could these two clips, from Dave Botcha and Randall Hart, have originated from the same person? Absolutely. The visual language is too similar. The environment, lighting, and even the figure's pacing all echo each other. But does that shared origin automatically prove a hoax? That is where believers draw the line. So we ask you, where does this footage fall? If the same hand is behind both videos, is it a skilled manipulator doubling down, or a conflicted man who just once might have caught the real thing? Some questions may never be fully answered, but in the pursuit of the unexplained, even the whispers of doubt can fuel the fire of belief. Let us know what you think. Do the long arms and fluid motion seem too perfect to fake? Is Randall Hart fooling us again, or did he finally see what others only chase in dreams? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and more importantly, tell us, which cryptid encounter should we investigate next? Is it the Mothman's return, the Texas Goat Man, or something hiding in your own backyard? What begins as a quiet investigation through the tall corn stalks of a rural Ohio field unravels into something else entirely. A terrifying glimpse into a place where strange creatures do more than just hide in the shadows. This isn't the typical evening walk through farmland. This is something far older, far stranger, and far more dangerous. Watch yourself as the first sign strikes, shaky, confused, and repeated in a near chant.
What the hell is that? What the hell is it doing? Oh, I'm done. Oh my god, it just made a noise. No!
What the hell is that? What the hell is it doing? Panic sets in quickly, not because of what's seen, but because of what remains unclear. The footage trembles. The wind rustles through rows of corn. Yet within that rustle comes something unnatural. Not animal, not wind. Something else. Something aware. The farmer's account comes into sharper focus. He's planted corn in alternating years, hoping to let the soil rest. But it isn't the soil that stirs. When corn returns, so do the entities. Dashing shadows, unnatural cries, and tall figures silently rising above the tallest stalks.
I'm gonna start that over. The house is right over there. I don't know if you can see his lights, but things are coming from the cornfield over to his house and starting some ruckus. So he's wanting to know what it is, if I have to worry about it, or if he has to worry about it. I know I'm gonna worry about it.
These aren't fleeting figures of the imagination. These are recurring disturbances, sightings, whispers, and events that now grow bolder as daylight fades. By 3 o'clock, the investigator edges deeper into the field. He speaks of nearby woods, of a house plagued by unknown nighttime intrusions.
Then he'll see something dart across or stand there, and he's also seen something that stands way taller than the corn, and I don't know how that's possible, but the wind is blowing.
Of disturbances that worsen whenever the corn grows high. The camera pans. A breeze carries across the microphone, but the stalks barely bend. Then, out of nowhere, the sound returns. And you'll hear it yourself. Something sharp, distorted, almost insectile, like a chirp, but wrong. It does not belong to any known bird or creature.
If I can find something, he's never doing corn again. If I can't find anything, then maybe he feels it's his imagination and he's going crazy.
The cold sweeps in as if ushering something closer. The investigator, determined yet clearly unnerved, pulls out a ghost box, a tool typically reserved for spirit communication, and asks the most primal question of all: what is in this cornfield? The replies are garbled, clipped by static and overlapping frequencies. Yet some words emerge: me die, mercy, trap. Languages seem to blend. Tones shift from plea to threat, and then silence. For a moment, the land holds its breath. Then eyes appear, just past 12 Hunquak. Glowing reflections flicker in the black. Twin lights, then 4. Watching, not moving, just observing the intruder in their territory. He whispers about being watched, about feeling surrounded. He scans, but no shape materializes. Only those eyes. Only that gaze.
What was that? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Shit. I can't run. There's potholes everywhere.
Watch yourself when it returns again, louder this time. The same repeated question, almost ritualistic. What the hell is that? What the hell is it doing? Over and over, in rhythm with footsteps crunching through the brush and breathing that now fights to remain calm. The camera jitters. The flashlight flickers, then cuts. Darkness swallows the scene. Light fails. Batteries drain. Panic overtakes resolve. The mission, document the creature, verify the farmer's claims, ends in abrupt retreat. The man, now whispering to himself in fear, admits it plainly. He's done. This isn't just one man's wild tale.
Hello, I want to ask a question. What is in this cornfield? I'm near it.
It's not just another shaky video. This is consistent, documented, the same field, the same year, the same time. Only when the corn grows tall, whether it's a dogman, a Bigfoot variant, or something as yet unnamed.
How to get over here? How to get...
The evidence stacks higher with every terrified witness. Ohio may not be the place people associate with predators of myth, but this footage changes that. If this is what happens when corn is planted, when the tall stalks rise to form natural cathedrals for hidden beings, what dwells inside them? Why only in the corn? Why only then? And perhaps more importantly, how long have they been waiting? Don't blink or you'll miss it. In the still heat of a Queensland afternoon, an eyewitness claimed to see something that shouldn't exist. Something that leapt from a tree like a shadow breaking loose from the branches. Thousands of miles away, in the dense temperate forests of the Pacific Northwest, a camera captured nearly the same thing. A dark figure diving through the treetops with acrobatic force, vanishing before the mind could catch up to the eyes. What ties them together is a chilling common thread. A species too fast, too quiet, and far too real for the world to ignore much longer.
It had its back toward me the entire time, a mere 20 seconds tops. It was only 5 feet tall. I'm 5'9" and built like a brick house. I was amazed how fast it went up into the mulga, and also how sheeny and clean its fur or hair seemed, considering the wilderness it calls home.
To witness what the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization calls lightning in motion, a yahoi launching from a tree in Australia's wilderness. The witness, Matthew Taylor, was stunned not just by the creature's velocity, but by its astonishing form, a compact black-furred being with conical head, shoulderless frame, and enormous flipper-like feet. It was like lightning, he wrote, still grasping the physics of what he'd seen. Jet black, shiny fur. I swear on my grand's grave, nothing added, nothing omitted.
It was like lightning moving away uphill into the dense bush, as if there were no trees, bushes, or scrub, even there. It was jet black, shiny fur hair, from conical, small, shoulderless head to large, flipper feet toes. Its soles of its feet were like cement mix powder or dry concrete pre-sand, gravel, and water.
This wasn't an echo of a past sighting. It was a fresh imprint on the growing story of an ancient presence hidden in plain sight. As the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch voiceover transitions, it leads viewers straight into the Pacific Northwest, where a Snapchat video, seemingly random, caught something eerily similar. A woman clearing trees with heavy machinery unknowingly filmed a fleeting figure launching itself from high in the canopy. Only on review did she realize what she had captured. The creature appears to descend with uncanny grace, using its arms and legs in a controlled, gymnastic fall. Branches are grasped mid-air. Momentum is redirected. Then it's gone. What's remarkable isn't just the acrobatics, but the precision, calculated descent, directional momentum, total command of body movement. As the footage plays again in slow motion, it reveals the intricacy behind the blur. The creature uses branches not just to slow its fall, but to launch into a second trajectory. It glides, not like a falling body, but like a practiced arboreal hunter moving between trees with biological ease. Arms stretch outward, back leg folds at a precise angle, and in midair, the figure turns, swinging out to disappear into thick undergrowth. Watch yourself as the video is broken down frame by frame.
I'm talking about controlled descent. It is propelling itself towards the ground by grabbing branches or the trunk of the tree. It may have also landed on this branch with its feet. It's controlling its descent from 2 points right here, grabbing a hold of the branch or the trunk and its feet on this other branch.
The narrator explains how the descent isn't chaotic. It's engineered. Each limb is used as a tool, each muscle calculated. The creature seems to momentarily float, like a gymnast mid-vault, its control astonishing for something that shouldn't be there at all. For some, it suggests an incredibly elusive primate. For others, it's confirmation of something older, smarter, and already adapted to this world's harshest corners. But this isn't just a tale of North American forests or Australian scrubland. These encounters link something deeper, shared behaviors that span continents. The Yahoi in Queensland and the Sasquatch of North America aren't just similar in myth or appearance. They're near identical in action. Both are described as shoulderless, cone-headed, muscular, and covered in sleek fur. Both have been seen to leap from trees and vanish into terrain that would trip any human. And both continue to be documented, though rarely understood. One photo from North Queensland, taken near the Aboriginal community of Yaba, shows a large humanoid footprint pressed into the dirt, its scale revealed by a common flip-flop placed beside it. The photo, dated December 2023, was captured during the Southern Hemisphere's summer. Just a few months prior, in the same region,
Larry posts the following image and writes on RMSO Media, North Queensland, Australia, near the Aboriginal community of Yarra.
Another report described a sighting of a black, fast-moving Yahoi that vanished into the mulga scrub in seconds. These communities, steeped in generations of oral history, have long accepted what modern science avoids. These beings are not fantasy, they're residents, as images surface of other alleged Yowie tracks across Queensland. In one case from 2004, a distinct footprint was measured and catalogued by YowieHunters.com, showing anatomical features impossible to fake.
This suspect Yowie track was documented near Wilcannia, Queensland in 2004.
The heel pad, toe splay, and depth of impression speak to something with significant mass and biomechanical complexity. The footprints don't tell a story of wandering beasts. They show purpose, direction, and stealth. These are not clumsy giants. They are specialists in the art of not being seen. There's a tone of reverence in every eyewitness account, a careful balance of awe and warning. Mess with them at your own peril, Taylor said, his voice flat but certain. Not because these beings are hostile, but because they are unpredictable, powerful.
At first, she thought it was a person dressed up in a gorilla suit. However, up close, she realized it was a real creature.
And entirely outside our control. For some, they're nature spirits. For others, they're relic hominids. But for everyone who's seen one, they are unforgettable. And perhaps that's the most important takeaway. These creatures, if they are to be believed, are not looking for us. They're moving just fast enough to stay ahead of our disbelief. Whether swinging silently through pine forests or vanishing into eucalyptus groves, they share one ability that's proving harder and harder to dismiss.
Another aggressive Yowie was filmed in December of 2010, showing hostility toward the witness. This creature appears to be stomping feet and making an aggressive display towards them before they decided to run.
They leave just enough behind to keep us chasing the truth. If you've ever questioned whether stories like these could be real, ask yourself, what would it take to believe something your own eyes hadn't seen? but someone else swore by with everything they held sacred. Are these the final moments before discovery? Or are we still decades behind something that's been watching us all along? Let us know what you think below. Have you ever seen anything leap from a tree like that? Do you believe the Yahweh and Sasquatch are the same species? Or two ancient cousins spread across the globe? Join the discussion, subscribe for more boots-on-the-ground evidence, and help us track what might be the most agile mystery in the world. Which clip hit you the hardest? And why do you think people tried to bury these? Let's talk in the comments. Smash that like button if this gives you chills, and subscribe for more finds that weren't meant to surface. Because if they hid these, what else is still out there?